Hello everyone and welcome back to Is It Peak. Today we are discussing Season 6, Episode 11 of Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. I'm your host Marcus, and joining me for this episode is the number one Jeff fan, again, Johnny Cooper.
Is that so?
We also have Imperfect Dan.
Who's Lalo?
And we have Hrez.
Hey, I'd like to say that I'm the number one Buddy fan.
Buddy versus Jeff, who wins?
Buddy
He's pretty tall.
Yeah, Jeff's like 3 feet tall. Well, before we go any further, we need to shout out the HN Films patrons. So special thanks to our ultimate fan boys, plural, Fartsom and Ben and Taryn Bailey. I don't know why that's the name I have. And our epic fanboy, Rhombus. So shout out to those 3 wonderful people. All right, so what are our initial thoughts on the long-awaited Breaking Bad kind of episode?
Probably the best type of use of the title, or best use of Breaking Bad stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, they had Breaking Bad stuff, and then they had Gene, Jeff, and Buddy. Breaking Bad. More so Gene. A lot of parallels to what was happening with Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Buddy was doing a bit of Breaking Good at the end there.
I really enjoyed the episode the first time I watched it, but it was pretty depressing. And I got to give props to Dan because he was kind of right about a few predictions last week, where he said that Marion and Jeff would be, part of a multi-episode archetype thing. And also how he predicted that, Gene would eventually break bad and turn into Saul Goodman again, which I was pretty against, based on some visual cues from last episode.
Same.
Yeah, and it was pretty depressing watching this for the first time because you're kind of seeing someone that has historically been making multiple bad decisions in the past. We're seeing their uprising into who he is in Breaking Bad, and I kind of held out hope for him to turn over a new leaf, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe with the prospect of finding Kim, he would try to stay clean, but he kind of went the complete opposite way and just became ruthless again, I guess. In this regard, just became Saul Goodman again.
Well, I don't know. There's still 2 episodes left. Anything could happen.
This is probably the best Gene stuff we've gotten. A lot of good directions they took with him. Probably the most inhumane he's ever been. Besides the thing he did with Chuck.
What, the insurance thing?
Yeah, that.
What about the Howard shit? You don't care about Howard?
I don't know. It's not the same.
No one cares about Howard.
I'd interject a little bit. I think the Howard stuff was pretty inhumane, but I guess comparing it to this episode, he did the Howard stuff with Kim because they kind of got a whole personal enjoyment out of it. But you see him committing the scam, or I guess not really a scam, just straight up robbery, and he doesn't really get satisfaction from it. And I'll talk about this more as we go through the entire episode, but he doesn't really seem happy with it. It just seems like a way for him to cope with some reopened wounds from the past.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I don't want to get into too much, but it seems like it relates to like his past mistakes and almost kind of fixing some of his past trauma in his weird way.
What do you mean fixing?
Because Walter White has been the main focus of this episode, and it's one of his biggest screw ups, his association with him. So it's interesting that a big part of the story was him trying to open up and do business with a cancer man versus another one that he's trying to scam, and he literally has no sympathy for, or has lost sympathy for. And it seems like there's this sense of fixing. I don't know. There's a word for it.
Fixing
I don't know
good.
what it's called.
Fixing good.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. The direction with this episode was, in my opinion, way better than Nippy. Less comedic and more serious. We get more depressing Kino and the return of paranoia at the beginning and at the end of this episode. Plus, they made the Breaking Bad shit work in a way that makes sense. Also, thankfully, I've been able to forget about Don Harvey's Jeff throughout this episode. So, I think I deserve an applause for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
They dangled the Walter White card in front of you, and you completely forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just add on to that. The first time I watched this episode, I know everyone kind of soyed over the cameos, but me personally, I didn't really. I'm not gonna say I didn't really care too much, but I was just satisfied with it. But on rewatch, they kind of use it in a way that advances the story a lot because it's obviously, matching parallels with bad decisions he's made in the past and bad decisions that he's making in the future.
I would say mostly yes, but one of the scenes I would argue doesn't really do that.
Are you talking about the cold open?
Well, yeah, the Walter White and Jesse stuff feels kind of thrown in. I'm guessing mainly to set up more important appearances next episode from them.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you there. You can kind of see, like with the other scenes where he's talking to Mike, and we'll get into this.
One. Yeah, the Mike one was really good, and also him at the end going into the school. Those ones are obvious.
Yeah,
parallels, but the Walt one just feels kind of like we have to put them in somewhere.
Maybe they just wanted to put Jesse in somewhere.
I think that scene made sense because that was, again, the first time they like had that official meeting, right? Like where they talked about decisions, like in terms of like making deals. Like didn't Walt say like he was gonna give him like 80K or something? But yeah, a lot of it is like fluff, definitely fan service fluff, but at the same time it is setting up stuff. So I didn't mind it much.
Yeah, a lot of my current criticisms with like this and the last episode and my current story trajectory will depend entirely on how it goes in the last two episodes. Like, if they fuck it up at the end, then these episodes are going to feel worse. But if they stick the landing, then all will be forgiven.
So what I'm hearing is that Jeff should have been the main villain. That's what I'm hearing.
That is definitely not what I'm saying.
I guess this is a good segue to the opening scene, right?
Yeah. Did anyone on Earth expect them to actually like do this? The whole recreate thing from Saul's perspective. I guess it was kind of obvious that they were going to do that. I didn't think they were going to do this specific scene though.
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful that they did it from like a different type of perspective. Like we got to see like seconds before he says like the iconic lines.
First watch, I didn't really expect them to, I guess, recreate the scene. I guess I was more expecting them to make new scenes. But like Dan said, I'm pretty happy with this overall because we see a new point of view, you know, how terrifying it was for him. You can see him panicking with everything, muttering different phrases in Spanish about how he has money. Yeah, exactly. Before he says those
mucho dinero. Also, I think they mainly did this recreation cold open thing because they wanted to have that scene later on when they're in the RV, but they couldn't just have that, so they needed to set it up with the cold open, so that's why it's there. And just because it's cool, I guess.
The music was pretty scary in that.
Yeah, the music was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They were going hard for no reason there.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the first frame, I knew immediately when this flashback took place. But I also thought, what else can they add from this scene without it being fan servicey? But both the opening and the later RV scene is done to set up the visual connection of the office scene where Saul gives birth to the idea of escalating Walter's businesses into new levels, you know, paralleling into what he's doing with Jeff and Tall Jeff with the dog. It gives the people who's never seen Breaking Bad an idea into what happened between Saul, Walt, and Jesse, and how Saul got from the Breaking Bad timeline into the Gene era with like new footage to please both sides of the fandom.
I feel like they were trying to give non-Breaking Bad viewers like some indication of what was going on, but they didn't really give enough info. But at the same time, if they did do more, like actually showing more of like the meeting between Walt and Saul and whatnot that we actually saw in Breaking Bad, like it would have just felt irrelevant for people who have seen Breaking Bad. So
also another thing is, can we talk about the new opening? Because nobody has really talked about it like that. But
well, yeah, I couldn't even figure out what that footage was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was like when it starts, like it's very like it's messed up, and then it cuts into the black and white version of the videotape. But the font is the new font.
And then when it goes out to black, you can briefly see like the crossroad shot for a second. So I'm thinking, I haven't scanned through the entire episode. I'm thinking the main black and white shot during the intro might just be some random shot from the episode. It kind of looked like the Chi Machine thing, but I'm not sure.
I thought the footage was just reused from the intro, like the original intro.
They're going for something with those intros, and we'll have to see how that pans out. Maybe next episode, instead of a crossroad, it'll be like a quick flash of like Kim's feet.
This dude.
Because next episode is the solo Kim episode. Should we move on to Francesca living with like two stoner losers or whatever?
Yeah, Francesca the goat.
Like tenants or something? What were they?
Yeah, I think they're like tenants. I think she's supposed to be some sort of landlord, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, they do complain that they pay rent and that she just can't leave, but they also call her for maintenance purposes. So
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
sure
I
what the
think.
relationship is there, but I guess it's not supposed to be important.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see those two quirky characters again.
I do think she's a landlord. I mean, isn't that what landlords sometimes do? Like they come in and like fix stuff.
I don't think landlords personally like come down and try to plunge sinks, but
Hmm.
maybe she's just a different type of landlord. I don't know. It is a pretty small apartment.
And then she sees the time and uses that as an excuse to get out of there because she has to go pick up that fucking phone that they set up in quite a ride at long last.
Yeah, and everybody was like, for years they were like theorizing who could it be? Is it like Kim, Howard, or I mean, or Bill Oakley, I guess, or Cliff Main's son? But nope, it's just Jimmy.
Who thought it was Cliff Main's son?
I was gonna say, I was wondering, is that supposed to be the phone call? I mean, it probably is, but like,
Yes.
in quite a ride, he's saying, "Say Jimmy sent you," and
No, that was in regards to the he like gave her like a number for a lawyer, and that was when he said the Jimmy sent you thing. So that's like not the phone
oh,
call.
it's not related to the phone call.
And we still don't know who that is. I guess it's just Cliff Main or someone.
It's
I
probably
mean,
not Bill Oakley because
Oh
she.
yeah, Goat Oakley.
No, it's probably not him though, because
Because Jimmy didn't know that he's now a lawyer, and he wouldn't
yeah,
have been at the
and it
time.
seemed like she didn't really know until she passed by one of his signs that he's the defense lawyer now.
Yeah, and he's also gay.
it seemed like they've called each other before.
Did it?
I don't know, it kind of seemed like that to me. Like, because the Gene stuff was like, what, how many years after Quite a Ride or Ozymandias, whenever it happened?
Only a couple months.
Yeah, because like Jesse was in prison for like 8 months or something, and then this takes place like a month after Walter dies and Jesse goes to Alaska.
Well, it has to be within a year because when when Jimmy leaves and tells Francesca to call, he says where you're going to be on November 12th or whatever the date is. He doesn't specify what year, so it has to be that year.
So November 2010 or October.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, I couldn't really get a grasp on it. Like there was a certain, I guess, sense of familiarity. It kind of made it seem like they've had numerous calls, but I mean, I think the obvious implication is that this is the first time, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, congrats to Bill Oakley, man. Holy shit, he became a lawyer.
He's followed in Saul's footsteps and took his place,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty epic. One of my favorite parts of this episode was seeing what happens to him.
Yeah, and it sets up Bill Oakley defending Saul in the finale. We can add Oakley now to the new dream team of like Kim, Aaron Brill,
Omar.
etc. defending Jimmy in the finale.
Howard Zombie. It was kind of good to get an update on Skylar, I guess.
If we got updates on fucking everyone, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
and I guess in this time we didn't necessarily see Gene's reaction to Walt dying. He kind of already knew in this one.
Well, yeah, he probably watches the news. Some of the things like she gets updates. Like, did he really not know that Skylar got a plea deal, or was she just saying that for the hell of it?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I mean, wasn't that news pretty big? Like, the Walt family? Like, everything around that?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it was
literally.
pretty big. Yeah,
I mean, dude was like the most wanted, like, drug lord or whatever.
I do wonder what deal Skylar got because even though Walt died and Walt Jr. got the money in Breaking Bad, I mean he never was really in custody, so I feel like it was natural that the DEA or more like the federal government would just go after Skylar.
Yeah, well, now because Skylar got a deal so we now know that they dug up Hank and Gomez's bodies because she gave him the ticket or whatever. So Skylar got out. So now they're just looking for like literally anyone, which is why they're like trailing Francesca.
Okay, but real fans know that in American Greed, they confirmed this.
Wait, do they?
They confirmed that how they found Hank and Gomez's, like, they found their dead bodies there. It was interesting that they said they found in the news, like, she was like, oh, they found Jesse's car in like a border or something, and I was like, wait, so what is that referring to specifically?
It's referring to I think Skinny Pete driving his car.
Badger.
Badger, my boy Badger,
Oh,
dude.
all right. It was Badger. He drove it. You remember the plan in El Camino? He drove Jesse's car, and then Jesse, took one of their cars.
True. Yeah, the feds think that's where Jesse went into hiding in Mexico. And, they'll always be looking for him there instead of anywhere else in America. So Badger's
Just
a
like
real one.
Nacho.
Nacho's dead, bro.
Yeah, he's dead.
I've been waiting since 2015 for updates on what happens to the Breaking Bad characters, especially Skyler, Walt Jr., and Huel. And it was one of the main reasons why I started Better Call Saul, because I saw that they show like 4 to 5 minutes of what happens after Breaking Bad through Gene. Now, we don't hear about Walt Jr. because this is only a month after Felina and El Camino, so it hasn't been like his birthday yet. And I think they wanted to keep, if he got Walter's money, a secret, because that's like the only thing we don't know that will still get people talking, I guess.
I kind of assume he already got the money, or he is getting the money, you know.
Okay, none of this matters. Let's talk about Huel.
Huel got out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He walked free.
Back home in New Orleans. And Kubi is nowhere.
Kubi's too busy being on The Mandalorian.
Kubi's too busy starring in flop TV shows.
It sucks so much how we only get a name drop for QB. He was like definitely one of the characters I expected to see more throughout the show, like Huel, and they ended up, cucking themselves by writing Bill Burr until like season 5. And that's when a personal problem came up and he couldn't do it. So they just gave it to Mr. GTA 5 instead.
Mr. X, yeah, the go.
Yeah. I'm still hoping that in the next episode we get one QB scene.
It's never happening.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Damn it.
And we also kind of got a price mentioned somewhat.
Did we?
Oh, Danny, right? Danny?
Yeah, and then Gould or Schnauz or someone confirmed in an interview afterwards that Danny, the laser tag guy, is indeed Price. We just didn't get to see him.
Yeah,
what?
Daniel Wormhold, right?
Yeah.
Daniel Wormhold, the GOAT.
Really?
Shouldn't Price be in jail since he is an accomplice, part of the laundering Saul's money?
Francesca mentioned that they got the laser tag and all of other Saul's money laundering places, so Price is probably doing time right now.
They even
man.
They even got his fucking overseas bank accounts.
Yeah, they got all of it.
Crazy.
You think we might see Price in the finale? Like Saul's in jail, and then there's like a next shot of him just sitting right next to Price.
Yeah, the last line is him saying, "Hey, it's me," and then it ends. And then, most importantly, Francesca mentions that fucking Kim called up to ask what was going on after the whole Ozymandias thing. And she even asked about Gene, which makes him very happy, maybe.
I was very excited to see Kim be mentioned in this episode. We need Kim back. She was the one who carried this whole show, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So people in German translated the what Gene says to Kim and vice versa, I think. Do you guys have that translation?
And also someone managed to isolate Saul's dialogue, and you can actually hear him saying some of the stuff. He's talking about how he's talking about how he doesn't want to turn himself in and some other shit. The point is that he is talking to Kim on the phone, and some people, aka Dan, thought he was not talking to Kim.
It wasn't just me, bro.
I saw lots of people think that Kim has cancer, and that's why Gene got pissed. But the German translation, which was louder than the English one, disproves that. But now I'm wondering how Saul and Kim will ever meet again, since they are in even worse terms now, right? So
yeah, I think anyone who was kind of expecting a happy ending where they end up together was kind of fooling themselves.
I was expecting that before the season started.
Yeah, no, we expected a reunion, but people like Cinnabad were saying they were gonna write a corny type.
He was just saying
reunion.
that because HN wanted that, or HN kind of wanted that, and then Cinnabad was just saying that just out of pure cynicism.
No, I thought it was on the cards until
it was on the cards, but I don't know. I guess this episode kind of reminded me how sort of tragic everything is, and this is kind of par for the course. A happy ending just seems out of the stratosphere right now.
Yeah, I still do think that Kim and Saul won't meet face to face until the very end of the last episode.
I mean, next episode is called what's it called? Waterworks.
Waterworks.
Yeah.
So, and that's related to the sprinkler company. So,
we assume.
Imagine this dude goes all the way to Florida
just to get cucked. I'm assuming that next episode, either cold open or somewhere in it, we'll see that call from Kim's perspective.
Yeah, or we'll just kind of hear it while he's in the phone booth.
You know what? I hope HN's idea is actually correct, because that would be a really good way of reusing or showing that scene again, just from a different perspective.
Well, yeah, it'll establish what Kim's up to. We'll get to soy face at Kim's back, and then we'll get to hear what was in the phone call, even though we already know what was in the phone call. I am so intrigued to see how Kim's going to look. If she's going to look a lot different, or if she'll just look the same.
She'll just have shorter hair.
I wonder what she does at the sprinkler company.
Sell sprinklers, I guess.
Does she sell them? Does she make them? I don't know. It's not important, but
Kim selling sprinklers montage next episode.
makes a lot of sense for, I guess, Kim to be very angry at Jimmy for calling her. I mean, he's a fugitive, and she had her run with Lalo and Howard getting murdered. She kind of learned her lesson from all of that, and she's probably pretty disappointed and angry that, one, Jimmy never learned his lesson, and two, he's taking a huge risk and probably going to implicate her if he keeps trying to contact her.
See, my thing was that I didn't think he was calling Kim because it just did not make sense to me that like there doesn't seem to be a reaction of like joy or anything. It was just like talking, and then anger out of nowhere. But then now that you frame it like that, it does make more sense in hindsight.
Well, he might no, but Dan, he might be happy, but she probably definitely isn't. So she's immediately like, "What are you doing?" and stuff.
And he gets a rude awakening.
It makes sense. That's why it makes sense for what Atros is saying.
Yeah. If I directed that scene, I will have had it where like the scene just slowly turns into color when Saul is calling Kim, but then it just reverts back into black and white.
Good thing you did not direct it.
Damn it.
The more we talk about like him meeting Kim and then it becomes in color, I'm starting to think it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's gonna turn into fucking color.
Yeah, I remember when everyone was thinking that the Gene timeline was gonna be color.
It will at some point, Ash.
Yeah, probably in the finale or maybe end of next episode. But I mean,
I think like the very last shot.
I was expecting it to be color from the get-go in season 6.
Well, I think the reason is we're still like bouncing back and forth. Between
No, definitely. This is just me with my silly preseason predictions.
Yeah, or maybe those pretentious writers, they just really like black and white. You know.
True. Francesca said that Walter's death only made it worse for the surviving low-level players who remained in the Empire. But who is still alive? That is in Heisenberg's business.
Kubi, Huel.
Yeah, I mean, Huel probably still gets his shit opened. Francesca.
Saul mentioned Ira as well.
Yeah.
Who was someone involved.
And, Francesca notes that, her phone's tapped and everything. Her mail gets opened all the time. Like, even months after the whole Heisenberg thing, after they found Hank's body and everything, they're still suffering the consequences of it all
because they haven't been able to like fully apprehend anyone yet, and they want to apprehend someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Mainly Saul is definitely their top target. Point is, Gene gets very mad. He smashes the fucking phone again. He has a little temper tantrum. Someone's gonna have to replace that glass on the phone booth.
Oh yeah, isn't that same gas station the one from Breaking Bad where like Jesse's like selling like his meth to this gas station lady, and then like Hank comes back in and tries to ask about Jesse, and then he looks at like the ATM to look for the RV.
Oh, you're talking about the phone. We're talking about the phone that Francesca's at.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I don't know. They do like to reuse locations, I bet. So
obviously the phone call between Gene and Kim, it kind of reopens some old wounds. Obviously, some wounds that he can't deal with if he's Gene.
Well, yeah. After this, we see Gene like he's working at the Cinnabon. Remember, there's a really long shot where it's just like lingering on him, and he's clearly a bit troubled, which then leads to him going off to Jeff's house to get things going again.
You can kind of say that you can kind of link his motivation for starting the scam to, I guess, the money prospect, because he just kind of lost all of his shell businesses. But it's very obviously clear that he's not getting any sort of pleasure from it. He's not getting any satisfaction the way he pulled scams with Marco and Kim. He's obviously just doing it just to do it.
Yeah, money's clearly not an issue for him because he still has those diamonds from season 5 and stuff.
From a bigger perspective, it just seems to be because he like literally cannot revisit like anything from his past. Like he lost his money. He was trying to like, reconnect with some of people from his past. He couldn't do that. So now he's going back to the one thing he was good at.
That brings up a question from last week that we talked about. Do you guys think that if he never called Kim, if he like never knew that Kim was worried about him, do you think he would have just given up the Saul persona for good now that he got Jeff and Buddy off his back?
I don't know. I don't know at this point. Probably.
I think so, yeah.
I really
think he would have given it up.
I don't think so, because for me, my interpretation was like always like the end of last episode, it just felt to me like this was just a guy trying to close a lid, but that lid just cannot stay closed forever. And all it takes is just something else for it to trigger itself. Which was Kim.
What I think is, if he didn't have the Kim call, he would not have gone back to Jeff and Buddy for it, but eventually he would have gone back to doing some sort of scam stuff. It just would have taken a bit longer.
Probably not on the scale of this, right? I mean, this is the morality of this scam, and we can talk about this later on, but the moral aspect of this scam is kind of different from the first one in Nippy.
There's not even like a shitty ethical justification like back in Hit and Run when he was talking to Huel about their reasoning for going after Howard. Like there's literally nothing like that. It's just being a dick.
Oh yeah, he felt a lot like Walter in this episode.
He's even kind of bald with a mustache.
Wow. I didn't even think about it like that.
You know, this episode really made me hate Gene/Saul because it shows us how he hasn't changed after he left Albuquerque and did the heist in Nippy. Because, you know, I thought, you know, he was just trying to get rid of Jeff, you know, with the whole Nippy heist, which, you know, I guess he was. But I thought him leaving the suit behind meant to show that he's progressed. But nope, he was quickly, you know, able to just slip right back into the Slip and Jimmy persona. But now we see it as his coping mechanism as a result of the argument he had with Kim.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I really thought that he was going to maybe let it go, or at least, like HN said, you know, he would have continued doing scams down the line, but nothing like this, you know, morally at all.
Wait, I don't think we're on track for the Saul Goodman redemption at this point. I think at most we'll get some kind of final thing where it's like, damn, I'm a real son of a bitch, and then he goes to jail or some shit. But he's not gonna like be like Walt and like go and like try to fix all the things he's done, you know? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, like when Walt already died, Jesse's scot-free. I think he's the one who has to, I guess, repent for everything, right?
Yeah, and it makes sense because he did kind of cause like their empire to like become as big as it is.
Yeah, and that was established in this episode.
I saw someone say on Reddit or somewhere that Walt's fate was dying. Jesse got off scot-free. He got away. So it only makes sense for Gene to like go to jail at the end because that would show like the free kind of like endings for someone in like that like criminal life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that until this episode, but
yeah, I'm really championing the jail ending at this point.
It kind of reminded me of that like quote in The Sopranos. It was like, there's only two endings for like a criminal. It's like you're either dead or in the can. So if he's not dead, then he's probably going to be in prison.
And Mike says something like that later on in this episode where he's like, you know, a guy like that, or like if the cancer doesn't get him, a bullet in the head or the cops will.
Oh yeah, do we need to talk about what he actually does at Jeff's house?
I mean, no, there's like a cute little Easter egg in there where he's talking about the cat videos. He's like, he tells, what's it called? Carol Burnett, you know, it's like you're hosting America's Funniest Videos. And that's a little bit of a cute Easter egg because Carol Burnett was one of the first female hosts for a comedy show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why she's pretty important.
You're reading like trivia pages of this episode or something, or did you just know that?
I knew this from last episode. I just noticed it this time.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Jeff buying her the computer is what's going to lead to Jean's downfall. You know, she's going to look up Saul Goodman and, you know.
Yeah. She's going to watch American Greed.
I don't know. That might actually happen. I think that might be how they make that American Greed thing canon.
What setting do you think the show will end on? Do you think it'll end in Omaha, Albuquerque, Florida? Where?
I feel like Florida because, like, after this episode, I don't see any reason why Kim would go up to Omaha, you know?
Yeah, and we absolutely have to have that face-to-face reunion unless he does just get arrested in Omaha, Albuquerque, and the last scene's Kim coming to visit him in prison maybe, but I don't know.
I feel a little silly because I think in the first few podcast episodes I was in, I was kind of mentioning how they were setting up Kim to move back home to Nebraska, but obviously that's not the case at all. She's in Florida now.
It moved to the exact opposite location.
Yeah, she's so far away.
Well, they said that Kim would suffer a fate worse than death, and I guess living in Florida has got to be up there.
I guess we can go into the specifics of the scam, right?
Gene's doing some karaoke, which immediately was Winner flashbacks. He's not singing Winner Takes It All, though, thankfully.
And he uses a different name, Victor.
Yeah, Victor from season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, and he's kind of appeasing himself to these rich. Well, in this scene, to this one rich, arrogant guy who kind of takes the piss out of him and everything.
Did anybody else think that was supposed to be like a replacement for Marco? Like that was like his new best friend or some shit? Or was that just me?
I think it was just you.
I took it a little more seriously at first. I was like, wait, does he just have a new person that he talks to? But then as they kept talking, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a part of something.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, what's he doing right now? Is he just going out in town trying to, I guess, get drunk to hide his pain from the phone call? But, you know, as it goes on longer, you see what he's really doing.
Well, yeah, once he calls him Victor, it's obvious. And he's like losing the bets on purpose to get him more drunk or whatever.
Wait, just one question. Was Victor the name that he used in Better Call Saul when he was doing the scam with Ken and Kim?
Yeah, and Kim was Giselle. Victor.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking that just now. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy he pranks or trolls is the guy from Home Alone. Did you guys notice that?
Wait, is he really?
Yeah, the bully from Home Alone, Buzz.
I touched on this a little bit earlier, but the moral aspect of this scam is much different from Nippy, where he's just sending Jeff into a department store with no one in it just to rob like dozens of things, whereas here he's getting these guys drunk, I guess, or he's sort of appeasing to them, making them feel like on top of the world, and then he gets Jeff to just straight up drug them and put them to sleep.
Well, he's like getting him to drink more, and then he's pretending to drink by having that like thingy he has under his shirt.
Yeah, the fake little.
I didn't know what that was at first until afterwards.
Like a Mario Sunshine type shit.
And then what's it called? Buddy hops in, and he just straight up breaking and entering and taking photos of the credit cards, the IDs, the medical stuff, the financial documents for
literally everything. Does he just have that dog with him to look less suspicious when he's outside?
Maybe it's for like alarm purposes, like the dog would bark if
that is a well-trained dog.
Why the dog inside the house?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Also, did anybody else get like Mike vibes from this guy, Buddy? Because like that's what Mike does in the early seasons.
That's kind of what Mike did at Chuck's house. He was taking photos,
and like Betsy's place as well.
I got more like Jesse vibes from him towards the end, unironically, just the slightest hint of Jesse. But
no, actually, I agree with you with that.
Yeah, he has some sort of moral compass.
Well, the music during the Buddy scene is pretty damn great.
The music's just been amazing all season. I can't wait for that shit to drop.
But after that, we get our first big flashback, or I guess our second.
We get what every BBU user and Reddit user on Earth has been waiting for: Walter and Aaron Paul.
Oh my god.
At first, when Jesse showed up, when the very first thing he said, I was like, oh no, this is so off. But the second time I watched it, it wasn't nearly as bad. In terms of looks, I think he looks like as good. He looks good, like way better than El Camino.
He looks so much better than he did in El Camino. Yeah,
he doesn't have a soccer ball face anymore. He's like, it's just his voice is so deep, it just throws me off.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people on Reddit kind of saying that Bob Odenkirk slips effortlessly back into Saul Goodman, but Aaron Paul doesn't. But I kind of disagree with that.
It's not about sounding the same. It's just how you act, right?
I thought the way he acted was like off as well. It was like he was drunk.
No. I mean, no, because like in the scene, it's like they're trying to be like very like nonchalant. They're trying to like make sure like Saul doesn't know too much. So Jesse, he's not like as energetic.
It was also nighttime, and they were like, digging up that thing for Saul, to put him in.
Like Jesse was probably tired at that time.
This is probably as best as he could have looked, especially, it was probably intentional with all the lighting in the RV.
Yeah, it was dark as fuck.
It's probably way better than, I don't know, Disney's version of this, which they would have just made a CGI Jesse.
Well, actually, they didn't CGI Anakin and Obi-Wan.
CGI Jesse with the AI voice, yeah.
Some people legitimately think like they should just recast like Jesse in that scene, and I'm just like, it's really not that big of a deal to me.
It might also be the fact that like Saul and especially Walt are like perfect.
Yeah, Walter looks exactly like he was in season 2.
Here's why it's a bit of an unfair comparison. These are like middle-aged characters played by middle-aged like old actors, right? It's not that hard compared to like a 40-year-old playing a 20-something-year-old.
Honestly, this is gonna probably be a bit unpopular, but I wouldn't have minded a recast.
What?
I wouldn't
of Jesse?
I wouldn't have really cared that much. Yeah, I mean, but I'm glad Aaron Paul came back.
I would have, because I don't think anybody could do Jesse better.
That would have been 100 billion times more distracting than like a deep voice.
Maybe. Okay,
Exactly.
that'll be my hot take of this episode. Yeah.
I think this is like an El Camino too, but like I feel like when Jesse talks in a lower voice, he just doesn't sound like himself from Breaking Bad. But when he talks in like a higher, like he's yelling, that's when he sounds like himself in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he was just talking quietly the entire time. So
I mean, I'm still really glad Aaron Paul came back to do it, and he probably did some work, I guess, to look more like young Jesse. I don't know what he did. Maybe he just lost some of.
I think there was probably a lot of makeup as well.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that he lost weight for Westworld too. So
Bryan Cranston though, Jesus,
amazing.
And they got around that whole little ball cap thing by just putting those little ski masks on.
Yeah.
I wonder though, because you couldn't even see his hair. I wonder if that was like
next episode he'll be walking around with a Heisenberg hat on. Just so you wait.
goatee, please. We need goatee Walt. We need Walt with the full beard, please.
Yeah, the goatee. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for this episode. So I was I was just a little disappointed when it was just mustache Walter, but you know,
Well, we still got next episode.
I will say, I do like how the entire purpose of like this scene was to essentially establish like their entire relationship. Like Saul, he kind of figures out like, oh, you're Heisenberg, and then like and he's just like, oh my gosh, like I should be in on this and everything. And then also we get that classic Breaking Bad nostalgia with the Walt and Jesse banter. I'm glad that felt just like Breaking Bad.
There's a bit of a sub-purpose to it when Jesse mentions Lalo. We see sort of that bit of that old trauma reopen up with Saul right there.
Holy, that was so amazing. I was shocked when it was Jesse of all people bringing up Lalo. I didn't even think they'd bring up Lalo again.
Yeah, I seen some people on TikTok talking about how it felt forced or something, but I mean it makes complete sense that this dude from the streets and everything, he's never heard of Lalo, but Saul's terrified of him. He'd obviously be curious.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to say, yeah, Lalo Salamanca, you know, so, you know, Walter and Jesse can like look at each other and be like, oh, we killed, or we teamed up with one of his cousins or some shit, you know. I think that would have
been... glad they didn't do that. That would have
I'm glad they didn't do that, but it would be funny if like he did say Salamanca and then both of them just look at each other and not say anything.
When Walt turned the keys for the thing and it didn't work, I thought we were in for 4 days out, part 2 plus Saul.
Yeah, I thought the scene was very good. My friend who was watching it with, he was expecting like way more, but
there's still more coming. So unless I just lied.
And obviously the best part of the whole scene when Walt's coughing comes back. And by the way, I don't know how he got the cough perfectly right. It sounds just like Breaking Bad. Just seeing Saul's reaction to that, and then obviously that plants an idea in his head. Like, yeah, I should probably help this guy out in my own tiny sympathetic brain way.
I don't think it was really sympathy. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it is because he literally did not have to stick with him. Like, obviously it was for the money, but him having cancer played a role.
The only role it played was him wanting him to cook faster so they can make.
Yeah, I don't really see much sympathy in Saul's mind when he sees Walter.
Bro,
I think he just
his reaction to when he saw Walt coughing, and then like him realizing that he had cancer afterwards.
I mean, yeah, he's probably shocked by it, but I don't think he does it because, you know, he knows this guy's going to leave the earth soon. He's probably just doing it for the money.
But like, there's some level of sympathy there. That's just my
Plus,
point.
whenever Walt's cancer's brought up in season 2 of Breaking Bad with Saul, Saul's always just like, oh man, like, we could have made so much more money, you know? I don't think sympathy's playing much of a role at all.
I mean, the fact that he literally chose Heisenberg over like literally anybody else, I don't know. That kind of does say something about.
Well, what do you mean anybody else? Who else is cooking?
Literally, what Mike? Well, when Mike was like recruiting those lists. Okay, we should probably get there, or when we get there, we'll talk about it.
After they fucking drive off, there's this crazy ass transition where it's like the grave, and then Gene's in the grave, and it's the bed. He's in bed.
I thought it was Lalo.
And for a split fucking set, I thought it was going to be fucking Lalo.
Oh my goodness, bro. I was so shook. I was like, no way they're doing Lalo.
So we're going to cut to Lalo's decomposing body.
I mean, later on when we get the next scene after this, which is like kind of another montage of the scam and everything, you kind of note these directorial choices, like when he's putting the drugs or the barbiturates in the water bottles and you see the corners, like each of the corners of the screen, there's like a hand.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about directing choices, there has been a lot of like fade to other scenes. Like, has the show had this many fade-ins?
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. This episode in particular just kind of feels like differently
like a classic movie, almost kind of.
Yeah.
The last time I remember was that Marco montage in the season 1 finale. That was a lot of dissolves.
Sam Raimi core.
Yeah, during that montage, there's a part, I don't know if you guys noticed, where they have like all the like ID cards laid out, and one of them has Thomas Schnauz on it.
Oh, really?
Really?
Like just his photo. Yeah. It was like right in the middle of a screen. I saw it immediately. And I like soy faced up a screen and then it cut. They're just shoving him in anyway. He's on cheese. He's on fucking ID cards.
And during this, what's it called? This montage. Well, shortly before the montage, you see him by the little foot thing, the swing master. Yeah. And then, you know, as we go on further in the montage, as he keeps scamming people, we see, you know, Buddy and Jeff enjoying themselves, counting the money, going to the strip club. You can just see Gene in the back of both scenes, kind of in the dark. And he's not really enjoying himself at all. He's just kind of staring into space.
Oh, but also he's like getting more of that like parts of that Saul Goodman personality back, like he's sleeping with hookers and shit, and then later on he even has a Bluetooth earpiece in.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think he's really enjoying it. You know what I mean? I don't think he's really getting any pure satisfaction from it. I think he's just
I don't
doing
know. It
it
seemed like he was
just to
getting
feel
some,
like.
But yeah, after that montage, we see his next victim, which is a guy with cancer. Oh no.
Walter?
And during that scene, like, it does look like Gene's sympathetic for a moment, and maybe he is, but then he doubles down on it anyway.
His sympathy was kind of like reminiscent of like him reacting to like Walt coughing in the flashback. But it almost felt like he wanted to have the opposite reaction because he didn't want to repeat that mistake he did with like working with Walt. But in doing so, he becomes almost like Heisenbergian in that type of way.
Heisenbergian? Is that the new Lynchian?
Yeah, let's go. We're
Heisenbergian.
making up new words now.
Coining a
Hell
new
yeah.
term.
Gene sends him off into the Jeff's taxi anyway, and then we get the return of Egghead Mike himself. We're wearing his fucking sunglasses from that one episode, the first episode he was introduced in.
Sunglasses look so funny, man.
I swear to God, they're like crooked on him. I guess around that time, Mike was just wearing sunglasses and then immediately after decided to stop wearing them.
You know, it's crazy how, I don't know if this was like your reaction, but I was kind of excited when Mike showed up, which is weird
Yeah,
because
I
like
was as
he's
well.
the second main character of the show. But it was.
I mean, did any of you guys see that Jonathan Banks' name was in the credits at the start? Because I did.
I
I
wasn't really
did.
paying attention to the credits.
Yeah,
I did as well, but I
always
was
read
so
the credits.
surprised.
But I'm always glad to see more Saul and Mike interaction.
Yeah, I'm really glad that wasn't the last of Mike we saw because I really wanted Mike and Saul in Breaking Bad times, and
And we
I
see
guess this is
that,
basically what I wanted.
you know, we see that they're still working quite a bit together. Like, I know some people were saying that Mike kind of holds resentment for him, but yeah, I mean, but it still seems like they work a lot together. Like, Mike's basically reporting on 4 different people that he was sent to investigate for Saul.
I feel like they have like a rapport going.
I think HN kind of like said it perfectly like a few episodes ago, like how Mike only like kind of tolerates him because like they have shared history.
No, but I feel like they have like some level of like chemistry with each other.
Yeah.
Some type of respect, but like yeah.
I'm kind of mad they just glossed over the fact that Mike told Kim about the Lalo thing and not Saul. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I just wanted to see that. Like, but yeah, I like this Mike scene way more than the Walt scene, honestly.
What happens next? We're back in the...
Yeah, Gene's chilling at home. He gets a call from Jeff, and it's a very distressing call, it seems. So then he runs off to Jeff's house, and him and Buddy are making quite a ruckus outside because the dog keeps barking, and that alerts Marion's attention. I saw some people say that Marion, you know, she'll like find out about Saul in some way, and Marion will be Saul's downfall. So an elderly woman will be Saul's downfall as karma for the Irene thing.
Wow, I didn't even think about it like that. That would be awesome.
And just like his whole like elder law thing is like, oh my god, elders were the thing that brought Saul down in the very
dog was just barking because it can sense that Gene is evil now.
You think that's what they were going for?
No, it's just some bullshit I made up. But
Well, that dog was very well behaved before, so it seems weird for it to be barking now. So
yeah, kind of. The first time I watched this scene where they're in the garage, the whole Gene saying, you know, you think guys with cancer can't be assholes. I speak from experience. It felt a little forced the first time I watched it, but second time I watched it, I guess it makes more sense because this isn't really Gene anymore. He's kind of Saul now, and he's, you know, Saul's quite the quipster anyways.
I mean, it could just be a way of him reminding them of who he's been involved with.
Yeah, this whole scene reminded me of season 5 when Jesse tried to like leave the game, but Walter kept like kept trying to like persuade him to join back into the business.
It was the Say My Name episode, and
Yeah.
that was by Thomas Schnauz too.
This whole argument kind of makes it clear that Gene's not doing it. I mean, we kind of already knew, but it kind of just says it pretty bluntly here when Buddy says, hey, we got all this money. Let's just not scam this. Let's just not rob this one guy tonight. And Gene says, no, we're going to go through with it. And, you know, Jeff being a filthy centrist during the whole thing.
I can kind of see both sides.
Oh yeah, did you guys notice how Gene says not your call like Mike?
I didn't make the Mike connection. When does Mike say that?
He says that a lot on the show. He's like, not your call.
Oh,
Or
He
like,
says
not
it
my
to
call.
he says it to Werner before he murders him.
Once again, doing that Walt thing where, like, after the villains die, he just says stuff that they say.
doesn't
No,
he?
what's happening is Gene is merging the Saul Goodman persona, the Walter White persona, and the Mike persona to become the ultimate Sigma.
And then we obviously got to touch on the very cool transitions between Breaking Bad era and the Gene era.
Yeah, that was so cool. Like when he closed the door of Jeff's car, and then cut to him closing the door of the caddy, going to Walt's house. Not Walt's house. Not going to the school was a major fuck up, and so obviously going to this guy's house was also going to be a major fuck up.
Yeah, it's like trying to show us that he's about to sign a deal with the devil, and that's which is going to lead to his ultimate downfall.
And also walking down that Bad Choice Road again. Bad Choice Road has to be one of the most like important episodes at this point in terms of like.
Yeah, because there's so many quotes in it.
The parallels the entire episode are there. That he has a history of making bad choices, but this one in particular, it's kind of implying that going to this guy's house is about to be the worst choice he's ever made since, I guess, going to Walt's high school.
Yeah, and both Mike and Buddy told them not to go and do business with these folks.
The moral of the story is literally everyone needs to listen to Mike's advice. Everyone disregarded it, and everyone is dead now. And you know who did take Mike's advice? Jesse, by going to Alaska, and he's doing pretty good now. So.
Oh wow!
True.
The ending for this episode was so abrupt. I was so pissed off in a good way.
Yeah, but they really got me hooked in, and they just ended the episode like that,
But yeah, do we think this teaser is fuckery, or you think?
I mean, it has to be, right?
I mean, the police are definitely going to that house. The question is Gene still going to be there when we get there? Personally, I don't see Gene getting arrested now. Unless the entire last 2 episodes are about his like trial or whatever, which would be fucking awesome, but I just don't see it happening at this point. It doesn't seem like the trajectory they're aiming for.
It's honestly kind of surreal. We're already at the penultimate episode.
It feels like just a few days ago we were talking about Funny Howard and a car shenanigans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did they play that stupid little jingle again? I forgot if they did.
No, it was like the same credits music as last episode.
When we first saw Jeff in season 4, he's like staring at the mirror like all menacingly to Gene, and then in this episode he's doing the same thing, but he's like scared.
I hope new Jeff has a happy ending. I hope he drives off into the sunset like Jesse.
I saw a lot of people on Reddit say that Gene in the next episode, he's going to kill somebody, and they think he's going to kill Marion.
No, well, I kind of think he's going to get into a bit of a violent interaction with the cancer patient, maybe? I mean...
I think there could be room for like some kind of scene where Saul Goodman like he finally actually murdered someone, because he's never murdered someone directly. That could be like a big moment. Okay, I would like to talk about, I think at least Rez or Dan has seen this, but I saw a theory on Reddit for how the show will end, and it's very intriguing. So you know how this episode they have these parallels with the Breaking Bad stuff, like what Gene's doing parallels what he did in the past in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So the way this show will end is the last scene will be some Breaking Bad scene of Saul doing something, and we'll be left to interpret how that will affect Gene in the Gene timeline, but we won't know for sure.
I really want them to do something like completely out of left field. Like, I don't want the ending to just be like he goes to jail, but like there is nothing else to it. Like, I want there to be other stuff to think about.
I think like a somewhat ambiguous ending is like definitely gonna happen, although I don't think I would honestly like that entirely.
Yeah, Sopranos ending.
What's going on in the next episode? Is Kim in next episode?
Yeah, Kim. There's gonna be some Kim focus at the very least.
I don't think we're gonna see Kim anymore until. Well, I mean, we are gonna see Kim, but not until like the finale.
So why is it called Waterworks then?
I mean, I don't know.
I think we see her phone call from her perspective. That's what I think.
Maybe Gene makes the drive to Florida next episode, trying to outrun the cops from whatever happens at the cancer patient's house.
You think they might do like Gene drives all the way to Florida, rocks up at Kim's house, he looks through her window and sees her having a happy life with her family, and then so he's just sad, so he just turns himself in?
That's such a creepy thing, though.
He like looks through a window and she's living a happy life with Ken Wins. Final rating / whatever. Dan, out of 10, out of whatever.
Once again, my favorite episode of 6B and probably the best since 607.
Damn, okay. Rez?
First time I watched it, it was like a 9, but I think it's more of like a 10. It's pretty arbitrary. I love the episode, but I still think 609 is better.
Cooper?
10 out of 10.
Best of this season or whatever?
No, the best of the season is still plan and execution.
Yeah, I'd say it's like a 9 out of 10, I guess. I originally had Nippy at a 9, but I lowered it to an 8 because I guess I'm a hater. But like, there's like several episodes from this season that I like more. But out of just like 6B, I would say Fun and Games is better, and also Point and Shoot.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome that anyone can name most of these episodes as their favorite, and it's valid, you know.
So that's all we have to say about Season 6, Episode 11 of Better Call Saul Breaking Bad. We'll be back next week to discuss the penultimate episode, Waterworks. Thanks for watching/listening.